and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Brenna Monahan.
If you don't use it, you lose it. I wasn't using it. And it wasn't because I wasn't partnered. It was because I just wasn't really interested. I really hadn't gotten wet or climaxed for a couple of years. And I didn't really care because I was planning for my future. I was coordinating my wedding, dreaming about babies, and plotting my vegetable garden. So when we broke up, I was kind of relieved. But I realized at that moment that I had let this business become an old, dusty handbag. And I hadn't even realized it. So when I noticed, I actually was really worried. I was thinking, shit, I'm never gonna get like wet and juicy again. I was thinking about all the times that I hadn't orgasmed, and every time I had to use lube to get wet, and I couldn't remember the last time I had actually pleasured myself. So I was a little worried, and I actually started to blame my ex. I'm like, ugh, you sucked me dry. God, ugh, what a fucking asshole. So I was really in this moment, and then I, had this kind of epiphany. I wasn't gonna let this bird-like Hesher fuck over my sexual health. I was gonna take it back. So, yeah. So I went to my primary care provider. And she was a little judgmental and not helpful. And she definitely didn't like the term broken pussy. I'm like, So then I went to my trusted acupuncturist, and he was awesome. He was super open-minded and excellent. So, boop, 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 Chinese pussy healing herbs. I got some. Yeah. And then my friend actually suggested Damiana, and that is this aphrodisiac, and it's kind of this pussy activating, like, squirter herb. Yeah. Or like, drink it. So I got some of that. And then, just because, it's for me, I went on a little shopping spree to Shebop. So I got home. I cleaned my bedroom. And I opened up my new vibrator, set it on the nightstand. And then I also opened up a new tube of lube. Boop, on the nightstand. And I laid on top of my covers. And I was adorned in an AC/DC t-shirt. Black underwear, okay? Like, this is just for me, so I didn't need to, like, hide under the covers or wear something that, was weird. So I grabbed my brand new purple metallic waterproof vibrator, and I turned her on. Bzzz. I pushed my panties aside. Okay. It was on my clit. And I was really prepared for, like, yeah, getting it busy. And nothing was happening. So I'm like, okay, maybe it needs to be like a little juicy and like maybe the vibrations, like I'm not a scientist, I don't know. Like, so like, I put it all in my business, place it back, and I'm I felt nothing. And there's 8,000 nerve endings over that. So they're like, oh, fuck it, they're all broken. Like, ah! And, I'm a control freak. I'm a multitasker. So when something doesn't happen efficiently, I get a little annoyed. So I'm really, I'm about to quit. I'm about to start a new project. But, I felt like, come on, Brenna, this is for you. So I just stuck it in my underwear, and I got my phone and called my friend Jack. And we hadn't talked for a while, so I figured, okay, great, like I'll do like both, like this will be easy. So this is like my, and I'm like, oh my God, San Diego, how's the weather? And it was sunny, like very exciting. And as this was happening and we were talking to each other, I was like, oh. This feels kind of good down there, and I was kind of excited, and then I when you just like remember things, and then I was thinking about when I was single, and I really liked dangerous sexual encounters before, so I like, okay, cool, hanging up, boop. And I log on to OkCupid because I was like, what? I need to fuck a stranger. Like, this is what my pussy needs. Like, come on. I can avoid surgery. I need to I can fix my pussy glands another way. So I got on and I was still kind of feeling, mediocre. So my hottest line that I could think of was, hey, I like to jazzercise and drink whiskey. If I don't make you barf, maybe we can get a drink. I got an immediate response. So Jay emailed me or messaged me, and he said, I love whiskey. If I just need to avoid puking when I see you, this could really go far. Yeah. But, our flirty little digs turned into deep thrusting. We were sexting, and it was hot. I liked it. I liked Jay, and we continued on, and it was very fun. And we were just having fun with each other, but I really kind of felt myself being provoked, and I was wide awake, and my pussy was really kind of perked up during this whole thing. So I was thinking like, okay, bye-bye, spring cleaning, gonna really soak those dirty folds, and it's gonna come alive again. And I was preparing myself, and we finally coordinated this date. So when I walked into Maui's and I saw Jay, and he was sitting at a booth, I sat down across from him, and there's TVs strategically placed, and the All-Star game was on. Jay was wearing a flat-billed Blazers hat, a button-down flannel, and his ginger beard was trimmed very nicely. This was all very opposite to my ex, so I was like, yeah, you're sexy, loving it. And we immediately started just having a conversation and joking about our past, and I was just envisioning this dirty old handbag turning into this brand new patent leather shiny clutch, just like this really hot little purse. And I was just really hot to trot. And, as he's talking to me, and I was thinking, yeah, this is a sure thing. I live really close to here. It's going to my bedroom. And, I had this moment where I also realized he wasn't paying attention to the game until I actually said, hey, you're not paying attention to the game. And he was like, oh, yeah. I was like, ugh, it's so great. And then he got up, and he walked to the restroom, and that's when he touched my shoulder. Ooh. My entire body vibrated. I was so sure this was fucking game on. I was like, oh my God, like my pussy's gonna be healed. And, he returned and he said, oh man, this has been great. I gotta go. Yeah. He left. Whoa. Okay, so I hadn't been dating for a while, so I thought, I'll just return my brand new clutch. And will be all dusty again. That's fine. Maybe sexting doesn't mean anything. I don't know. So I got up, and while I was closing out my tab, I was getting a new date. So I, wasn't gonna fuck around with sexting or like any of this business. I don't need to anticipate. Let's meet tomorrow night. Bam. So the next night, I go to Maui's again, and it's close to my house. So I walk in and I see my date. He's seated at the bar, and he has like shaggy hair. He's wearing a hoodie, and his smile is as nice as his pictures. So I sit down next to him, and we started the date. It was funny. He made me laugh. I made him laugh, and he bought me drinks. Yay. And then he excused himself to the restroom, and that's when I saw his body. This man had the thickest thighs and the widest bottom that I've ever seen. And I was just looking at his pants, and his really tight, and I was just trying to get out of his pants, and his skin was screaming to get out, and I was. He's just switched to the bathroom, and he just was a classic pear shape, like a total lady bottom, and I was not attracted to his lower half, and I really had this moment where I was like, shit, oh dang it, and I was going through my head, like, am I really gonna be that person? Like, am I gonna not continue on a date because I'm not like sexually attracted to this? Like, I've been turned down plenty of times for this business, and I don't want to be that kind of asshole. So I had to like get back into my head and really think about what my mission was, which I wasn't gonna fuck his thigh. I was gonna like use his penis to fix my vagina, and this could work. It could work still. I was so certain, and he was funny. So it was like, okay, like I'm gonna be okay with this, and so we eventually went back to his house, and when I walked in, his coffee table was just full of empty wrappers and like fast food things, and just like, oh, my pussy is not attracted to garbage. Oh, she was not amused. She was not having it. And we'd spent like the night together. So I was like, okay, I excused myself to, go and smoke some Damiana herb. Okay, like, come on, girl. Like, you're here. Like, this could still work. Like, come on, get glistening. So when I came back in, and I was like, hey, I would love to see the rest of your apartment. And it was a 1-bedroom apartment. So we pretty much ended up back in his room. And I don't know if it was the whiskey or the Damiana or, LB, like Lady Bottom's like face in my twat, but I was feeling really ready. And I really kept thinking like, come on, yeah, you're gonna pound me into normalcy. This is gonna be great. And I was just like, feeling it. And so I was ready to get fucked. So I pull off his pants. Dang it. So find the nearest beard, stick your pinky through it. So, he had a micro penis, and I love burritos. especially during a breakup, because they're so big and you gotta like grab them with both hands, and like with every bite you're just like ugh. I mean, it's so good. It's pure joy. And when you finish a whole burrito, you're filled up. You're filled up. So I immediately was like, this penis is not gonna fix my broken vagina. So, he didn't seem to notice, and I just kind of played it like, I'm so tired. And I went to sleep. Yeah. And the next day, I was back at my house, and I forgot my phone, of all things. But I was looking at my phone, and that's when I noticed that I had missed several texts from Jay. And it was at that moment that I actually realized that we were on the same page. But I wasn't really accounting for all these new complications of kids and exes that never go away, and real jobs and bills and broken genitals. So I texted him back, and we quickly started sexting again. It was hot, and it was steamy, and he provoked me, and he distracted me. And we had phone sex. And I actually had the ability to get my bed ready and to envision Jay spreading my legs and fucking me and squeezing me. It was nice. And I actually made myself come. And it had been years. So it was such a delight. And I felt so empowered. And, finally, when Jay and I actually went on our second date, I invited him to my house for dinner. And he cooked, which was cool. And we actually were really nervous. We didn't touch each other much until I gave him a tour of my house. And we ended up in my bedroom. And we were actually standing like a foot away from each other, and I felt this kind of magnetism. And when we kissed, I erupted. And I was dripping. And when we actually got undressed and he entered me for the first time, I don't think I've ever screamed so loud in pleasure. And we actually, I came 4 times that evening. And yeah. And my bed was soaked with my own lady juices. And I was continue to reel really about the best first sex that I've ever had in my life. So really what I had learned about this experience was several things about my pussy, but a few, one, she doesn't like to be ignored. And 2, she really wasn't broken at all. She just really wants to like the person that she's with. And then she works just fine. Yeah. So, my vagina actually wasn't broken at all. It was just me.